Hello, it's just me today, Michelle Pennington with the Writing Gals weekly podcast. And today I'm just going to bring you something fun and short as we're getting close to Valentine's Day and I started planning a date with my husband. I realized that there is a big difference between a date in our real lives and the kind of date that we should have in our romance novel. At least if we don't want to have a boring, cheesy, cliche date. And so today I'm going to share with you 5 easy tips to make your date scenes more exciting and fresh and fun, unexpected, all those really fun, pizzazzy words that readers really like. So the first tip is to have spontaneous dates. So instead of having your characters plan the date, or having your hero pick her up at 7, make reservations, and show up at, a restaurant or a ballet or something like that. Make it something that just comes up out of nowhere. Maybe they are on a road trip and their tire gets flat and they have to walk to a gas station and eat, not so great chili dogs. It's not going to have like this whole presentation of expected, boring, normal kind of thing. It's going to leave your reader guessing, making them questioning, like, what's happening? And before you know it, all of the elements of a date are happening, but in a new way and with an unexpected twist to it. So that's the first tip. Don't make it a planned date, make it something that happens spontaneously. And my second tip is to increase the stakes. So when we're writing romance, it's already hard enough to have plenty of conflict in our romance. So why not use this scene as a chance to add more conflict to your story? You can do this by making the date some kind of a test for the characters, something that they have to pass or fail to see if the romance is going to be successful or something that both characters want. Have one of them reveal a secret that's going to add to the conflict of the story. Or even if they don't reveal it, something else reveals that secret. Maybe put it somewhere like your setting where they will have memories of the past. They're going to remind them why they can't be with this person or of a previous struggle that they had if it's like a second chance romance. So whatever you do on the date once you get there is just increase the stakes of the story somehow. And that will make it so that it's more exciting and more suspenseful for the reader and actually has a purpose in the plot besides just them going on a date because that's what couples do. Remember, in a romance, it's actually something where the characters should be trying not to fall in love with each other in most tropes or most romance plots. And so having a planned date is going to be unlikely anyway. Hopefully, if you have them going on a date, you've come up with some really fun plot reason why they're going in the first place. And the only exception to that is one that I can think of is one that I'll talk about later. Okay, so the number 3 tip is make something go wrong. So if you, for whatever reason, get your characters on this date and everything's, going according to what a normal real life date might look like, once they get there or while they're on their way there, something has to go awry. You can have them late to the event that they're going to so that they can't get in and have to make new plans. Maybe one of them gets splashed by mud on the way there and they can't go in with their muddy ball gown, or change the weather so that it rains on their picnic. Not only does this keep things fresh and exciting by not going into an expected cliche scene, but it also gives you opportunities to reveal character, to let both of them see how the other one reacts in difficult, stressful situations. And it also can increase their intimacy with each other as they go through a bad experience together. As they have to deal with the consequences or the fallout of whatever's gone wrong, it gives them a chance to get closer together and improve the intimacy between them. My next tip, number 4, bring in another character. So this character might be an ex-girlfriend that happens to be at the same restaurant, comes over to talk to them, or maybe it's a third wheel that runs into them at the fair and they can't shake them, so they're constantly there with them as a third wheel. So this technique does a couple of things, but overall, what you're doing here is increasing the tension between your love interests. It's either going to make them frustrated that they can't have alone time together, and it's going to keep them from being alone, which you want at this point in the story, by having that other person there. Or it's going to drive a wedge further between them, or it's going to create a series of emotions in them that are going to create tension. And that might be things like jealousy, frustration, it might be protectiveness, depending on who that person is. So you can use that other character to change the dynamic in the scene so that it evolves into something that, again, adds tension, drives suspense and conflict, just creates this whole scenario where something interesting can happen. And it also helps to increase the chemistry between the two characters if you're having strong emotions in that scene. And that can be applied to the previous tip as well to make something go wrong. And then my last tip is to emphasize your tropes. So if you're on a date, the scene should have a point. And in romance, you always want to fall back on your tropes because that tells you what kind of characters you have and what kind of conflict you have. So really drive it home to the reader. So if you have a billionaire, make him spend a lot of money and make your nanny character, for example, feel really uncomfortable and intimidated and like a fish out of water as she is sort of swept away into this lavish lifestyle that she's not used to with this billionaire. So really play that up. You could also have best friends that are going to a movie together. And then one of them who has feelings for the other or knows they have feelings for the other tries to shift the movie into a date and make it something more. And so you really play that tension of how do they go from being friends to being lovers in that trope. And then I'm going to talk about the other reason why having a date might be okay. And that is if you are using a forbidden love trope where the two of them are in love and want to be together and they want to go on this date together. But there has to be an outside force that's keeping them apart. So use the date as a way to show how much they like spending time with each other, how close they are in the intimacy levels, where they're at in their relationship and what they want from each other. Just give them that brilliant, wonderful, joyful moment where there's chemistry, it's swoon worthy, maybe there's kissing and other, forms of affection happening, and then bring something in to ruin the date or to remind them that they can't be together because of whatever's forbidding them from being together. And so that is an example of how you can use a date to really emphasize your tropes and drive it home to the reader. So I hope that you can use some of these tips to increase the energy, the excitement, the suspense, conflict, and tension, and what could otherwise be a really boring, cliche, cheesy kind of scene. And I hope that you also know not to apply any of these to your real life dates because that could really cause you some issues in your real life romance. So thanks for being here. I hope these tips are helpful. Please subscribe if you haven't already and click the notification bell so that you can know when a new videos out or when we're going live. And be sure to join our Facebook group, The Writing Gals, where you can join our community of authors who are all very supportive and helping each other on this journey to write and publish. Thanks a lot. Bye.